How's it, everybody, and welcome back to Estoria-Ta. This time last week, we were celebrating the completion of the Festival Village. Now, a week later, it has come to life with delegates from all across the Pacific celebrating our culture. Here's another member of Team Guam.
You recognize like the knock, some of them you recognize found given these areas. Hafade, Guam si Peter Onedera, madisignazo na sainan minin halum ginin hila siya ginin in Guam Council on the Arts and Humanities Agency, just the master storyteller na manayizo nizo na titulo gi mapunasakan za gagizo gwini pagan na momento ni para bayho from presenta gwini gi mamayla 2016 ferin atin Pacifico gwini pun mas patungo i FestPac za magozo na guaha oportunidad na para magoti gwini gi za Guam za no bonito esta todo el reglamento ni man matsogo sa man munhazan para i-preparasyon para este na feira ni mamayla dia 22 de marzo hasta dia 4 de junio. Já se os masin este na oportunidade para bairro impacte que toda maneira za maneira kungok e tiningo siya por Estoria na parte za San Mango Zone este na haoni pago ni gai gizo gwini gi Peace Memorial Park za Zico. I've been a long-time storyteller, and the area that I've really concentrated on while doing stories and so forth is because of the plays that I've written, presented and produced here on Guam that runs many or covers many topics of interest to our Chamorro people, legends, myths, stories, social issues, concerns that plague our people, even some historical aspects of what our people have gone through on this island. And that, for the number of years that I've been doing, has been pretty much pretty much formed the basis of my talk story experience. But at the same time, I'm also a storyteller. So I also impart legends and stories, the same vein, to audiences from elementary school children all the way up to adults. So I am also involved in those aspects of storytelling. I've also written books and articles, and I've contributed to the literary aspects of writing in the indigenous language. I often get invited to talk story to schools, both public, private, even at Onedera, from elementary, middle, high school, even at GCC. Quite frequently I get invitations from teachers who know of me, and sometimes they share my name and my contact information so that other teachers can also call me up to invite me to come to their schools. And it's not always necessarily during Chamorro month, but any time of the year that I'm available, depending on my schedule. I make it a point to accommodate as many as I can. Sometimes I'm also involved in telling stories at senior citizen gatherings, and a few times even at public meetings and so forth. So nothing phases me insofar as the kind of venue that I can tell my stories to people about and so forth. So that's I'm kind of accustomed to that and so forth. So I'm prepared for whatever venue is available to us storytellers at this upcoming FestPac.
His work over the decades was recognized by the Guam Council on the Arts and Humanities Agency. In 2015, Mr. Onedera was presented a Guam Masters Award.
For me, I just love stories. I can't say enough about it, and so whenever the opportunity comes for me to talk story, I give it my best shot. And many people, sometimes I leave them wondering, or I leave them in awe, or I leave them surprised, or I leave them clamoring for more. stories from me and so forth. As an example, my grandsons are like that. Whenever I'm with them, they ask me to tell a story, and so many times they ask me to tell it again or to tell another one and so forth. So it's a fascinating type of discipline to be engaged in and so forth. But like I said, everybody can tell a story, and again, it doesn't matter who the person is. It's just being able to pass on fascinating stories, if you will.
Onedera taught several years at the University of Guam. He left there in 2011 and moved to California.
I've been living in San Diego for the past 2 years and so forth, and one of the ventures that I got into over there is to establish Escuelang Finohanza, or the School of the Chamorro Language, to interested individuals from the Chamorro community that come from the county of San Diego. And so right now at this point I'm teaching a core group of adults who are willing to learn to teach the pedagogy of the Chamorro language in a nice formal sense of things and so forth, because anybody can teach the Chamorro language, but it's important to also know everything that there is possible in passing it on, so that people are made aware that the Chamorro language is a language, contrary to a lot of people who believe that it's part Spanish, or that it's a borrowed language, or that it's you know, gotten from somewhere and so forth, because it is a language because of the fact that it does have a structure, a grammatical structure of that. And that's what I'm promoting and perpetuating over in San Diego. And for the over a year that the Escuelang Finohanza has been in existence over there, I've had over 100 individuals already take my classes and so forth, and they're still clamoring for more. So at this point in time, because I'm here, it's on a hiatus until I return. So yes, the Escuelang Finohanza is something that I started over there upon the establishment of the Chamorro Language Foundation, and I've also established a 9-member board of the organization, who are all transplants, if you will, from Guam, and have been living there in the States, but also in their heart is the importance of the perpetuation of the Chamorro language. So that's the other part that I've been involved in upon coming back to Guam and so forth. But I'm forever busy with anything anything to do with the Chamorro language and so forth. So I feel it's my life's mission, and I will not stop doing it until I'm not able to anymore.
Onodera has been a delegate to 5 FestPacs. This will be his 6th.
Let me tell you, for somebody to experience the Festival of the Pacific Arts in the Pacific and so forth, it's a mind-boggling thing. It's just, even I myself, I was just so caught up in the pageantry and the warmth and the friendship that took place, and to hear different languages being spoken, because of course I'm a Chamorro language practitioner in that respect, and I love that. And I didn't realize that the vast Pacific that boasts of the 3 regions, which is Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. I didn't think that this part of the globe, or the earth, so to speak, has such a wealth of cultures and languages and traditions, and through art and music and navigation and culinary and medicine and storytelling and chants and dance, and the list is endless. And so we are looking forward to that with this upcoming 12th Festival of the Pacific Arts that we are hosting here in Guam, and I'm very, very proud that it has come to our island since, you know, for the longest time that it's been running every 4 years. And of course, it's been dubbed as the International Olympic of the Arts, and I will say that it is indeed an international event worth looking forward to participating and being a part of.
Stay tuned. Up next on Estoria-Ta, we'll introduce you to the people behind traditional games.